I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to calm down. And we're going to talk a little namaste 76ers, okay? We're just going to do this easy now, okay? We're going to ease our way into it. I'm not going to get too excited. I'm not going to get mad. I've wasted enough energy there. Let's just rationally talk about this, okay? So the 76ers lost to Clippers. Yeah, they lost again. I'm just so happy about it.
Welcome to the ChadBurn Show, brought to you by M. Chad Baldwin.
Welcome to the ChadBurn Show. I am your host, M. ChadBurn, and as always, running the behind the scenes, making sure we have a perfectly smooth running ship through this whole process. The one, the only, Julien Renvoise. Say hello to the people, Julien. There he is, folks. Now, let's get right into it with episode 25, Big 25. Very excited about this one. It's been a big week of lots of different news. I think in this episode, what we'll be doing is obviously going through some of the big stories of the week around sports. We'll also then hit at the end, of course, a little discussion about 76ers and a little Eagles draft stuff. So what we're seeing out of the combine, the Sixers with their up and down, left, right, just driving me insane season so far. But a little cool surprise from one particular player at the end of this. But yeah, I think we're going to jump right into it. As always, we appreciate you guys joining and listening. If you ever feel like you want to learn more information, always feel free to click on follow us on Instagram for updates and news on the episodes, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to see always the great content. But for now, we're going to get into this. As always, this is a first take only show. We cover the big sports of Philadelphia since I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. 76ers, Eagles, Flyers when I watch hockey, and Phillies. Obviously, right now, we need to talk 76ers because of basketball season. We will hit on the Eagles. But our first segment of the show will be things to note around the sports world with the number one big one, the NFL draft. The combine is underway. Spent a little bit of my time this weekend watching some of the drills. Obviously, the 40-yard dash is kind of one of the interesting because of speed. I think that's the only one that really is a great measurement. I did watch the wide receivers do their drills, the catching drills. It is shocking to see many of these wide receivers that are in the draft dropping the ball, actually. You think that they'd be practicing pretty hard before then and get the right gloves so nothing goes through. But I saw at least 2 or 3 players get totally clocked in the head while trying to run the drills. I've seen the big linemen out there, but we'll kind of go through some of the top prospects on the list, and mainly I'd like to focus on the Eagles position. Obviously, they're the 21st pick. The big need is wide receivers. Howie Roseman has come out and said that his priority is to surround Carson Wentz with weapons. That ergo, wide receiver needs to be filled. Alshon Jeffrey will be gone. Nelson Aguilar will be gone. We have a possibly healthy, if healthy, Deshaun Jackson, who's a speedster on the outside. Greg Ward looked to become a possible real viable slot receiver, and possibly also on the other side outside with Deshaun Jackson. Else on there, I mean, obviously, I think a Whiteside, you want him to continue to improve and become a better player and have a bigger role on that team. But he is still, in my opinion, unproven with a lot of drops last seasons and just not great routes. Then obviously it rounds off with 2-star tight ends with Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. But the wide receiver position is thin, will need some support. So we got to see who's out there. Now, when we look, obviously, at kind of the top overall, the draft boards we see, I'm referencing CBS Sports. I think they do a really good job. Pete Briscoe and the group. But the number one, obviously, when you look at the overall talent, the ranking, the 1-2 is Chase Young and Joe Burrow. None of that is interest to us in the Eagles. Chase Young is either going to the Redskins or, barring some craziness, I mean, he could go to Bengals. If the Bengals decide they're not going to move on from Dalton, or they believe they can find a backup that's able to hold it down, they will obviously overlook Joe Burrow and Tua and go with maybe Chase Young, the phenom defensive end, and try and shore up that defense, as the 49ers saw was a winning strategy this year. But Joe Burrow is obviously the top quarterback. He is expected to go to the Bengals. If he were to drop and become available to the Redskins, I think they would upgrade from Haskins and go to Joe Burrow. But we saw also today that the Bengals do intend to put a franchise tag on A.J. Green, their star wide receiver. That would allow you to believe that they are trying to continue to hold on to resources on the offensive side for a potential young quarterback coming into there and starting right away, which would be Joe Burrow. I don't see Tua going over Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow really proved himself, I believe, during his college run to be the most reliable and the top quarterback in the league. Tua is an interesting prospect, but in all honesty, he has the injuries are an issue, and people will be always questioning, can he withstand a full season? Can he take the big hits that he'll get in the NFL? So Joe Burrow, who looked phenomenal on his run to the national championship game, will obviously be the top pick over there. But when we start going a little deeper into the wide receivers, let's think of the top 5 wide receivers that they have listed. You have CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma, Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama, Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama, and T. Higgins out of Clemson. And rounding it off with Laviska Shenault. I'm going to totally mess it up, but Laviska's also has a cool story. Kobe Bryant, we're talking about coming to the Eagles. But in general, you're looking at if the Eagles, for whatever reason, were somehow able to trade up in the draft, there's been some talks about them possibly want to go higher up to get a better talent. CeeDee Lamb's the guy you want to go for. Insane season, absolutely stellar. 1,300 yards of the year, 62 receptions in 13 games he played. He's averaging over 20 yards a catch. He's got speed. He's got the hands. That's who I'd get, obviously, if he's still there. But we have to be a little realistic, right? The Eagles might not want to package anything together to trade up. Maybe if Alshon Jeffrey appeals to some teams that want to have a more proven wide receiver, we might be able to go up in the draft and use a lower draft capital in the later rounds. But I think more than likely we're going to be staying around that 21. So who is possibly available there? The big names and most of the experts out there are putting the two that get the most votes, obviously Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama and T. Higgins from Clemson. Having seen both them play, I really like T. Higgins. I think he's a big guy. I think he's going to be a really solid wide receiver outside. He had a great year with Clemson. He was a great target in the championship game. I like him a lot. The other name that sticks out to me, because I think Henry Ruggs, obviously a stellar talent, but I don't want to pin my hopes all on him because I think he's going to be gone early. I like Justin Jefferson as well in LSU. If we end up with Justin Jefferson or T. Higgins, I think that's a great start. I think that's a good young talent that you can develop. That's going to be better. They're going to be reliable. I think the Eagles would be happy with either or. But obviously, if Henry Ruggs were to drop, then yes, the Eagles should go with him. But if Henry Ruggs is out and CeeDee Lamb is out as well, I think your best fit is going to be T. Higgins or Justin Jefferson. And they're more than likely going to be available at the end of the first round. So I think the big one, T. Higgins, I like him. I think he's going to be the one I would go with. If we look at stats that year, Clemson, also over 1,000 yards, 1,100, 59 receptions, so it was a big target. 13 touchdowns. I think when you compare it up with everyone, yeah, he's in the top 4. He's got he had the most touchdowns that were there. So Henry Ruggs comes in at, that's the thing. Henry Ruggs, while really talented, not a lot of yards. And I know that's a run-heavy offense in Alabama, but 746, 40 receptions. I think obviously he's got talent. We've watched him, and in the combine, he looks good. But again, I would be really happy with a T. Higginson or a Justin Jefferson. The other one that talks big, Laviska Shenault, the issue is coming out of Colorado. Will he get enough attention from the smaller school, not necessarily big ones like Clemson or LSU? Not a lot of, I guess you would say, screen time during the season, especially for someone like me. So I didn't really get to see him play. I have heard he's got great speed, so it'll be something to look forward to. But we'll see. I think Henry Ruggs was one. I think he ran like a 4.28 or something at the comma. I mean, the guy's got speed too. So obviously there's a lot there. I'm not even a cornerback, but wide receiver looks exciting. I'm hoping the Eagles get a good one. But that's what we'll see. At the top, it's pretty standard for all the other teams. While I don't really care, obviously Chase Young and Joe Burrow with 2 top picks. Will the Redskins also maybe opt out of taking Chase Young and go for a Tua to upgrade from Haskins? I think Haskins a worthy player that can possibly be developed. He's only had one season under his belt, but you never know with the Redskins. You never know with Snyder how he's going to go with it. Does he trust Haskins or will he go quarterback? And then rounding out, I guess, top five, he's Chase, Joe, and Tua. You have Jeff Okudah from Ohio State, the cornerback. I only saw a few clips from him. And the other one is another linebacker, Isaiah Simmons, who had a really good combine day this weekend, so possibly could be interesting there for whoever picks him up. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're standing with it. Obviously, I'm just going to be focused on the wide receivers, and I pray the Eagles don't get tricky and just stick with it. Stick with a wide receiver, get someone to rely on, and let's move forward. The next thing big thing in sports right now, outside of the draft, Tom Brady news. Another video of Tom Brady on the sideline with Edelman, with Jimmy Fallon, talking about where he wants to go. I shouldn't say where he wants to go. Edelman was clearly mouthing that he's coming back. He's coming back to the team. What you don't know is what Tom Brady says in response. Did Tom Brady say this guy or he's not or what have you? Is he playing with it? There's a lot of reports right now indicating that Tom Brady most likely will not come back as a Patriot. And going back to something we mentioned earlier with A.J. Green, who was considered to be a top target of the Patriots to solidify a weak wide receiver core, if the Bengals are going to franchise tag him and keep him on the team and that is no longer a viable option for the Patriots, then what are the weapons they're going to surround Brady with? Is New England even an attractive destination for players caliber who still has at least 1 or 2 seasons left in him, who clearly last year, if he just had a few more weapons at the wide receiver position, could have taken that team far in the playoffs with the dominant defense they had? So I think if you're Tom Brady, why not go out and try and prove yourself on another team? Why not try it with the Tennessee Titans, who have a great, obviously, wide receiver core? Why not go to the LA Chargers, who obviously are built to win now as well, moving on from Phillip Rivers? These are all teams that have the core, have coaching, have a great franchise around them that could be something significant. Why not the Tom Brady go out there and try and prove himself on another team? So I think most things are pointing towards he will not return to New England. Obviously, the betting favorite is that he will because that is his home. It's where he's been. Why not finish where you've played your whole season? But we shall see. I'd love to see a shakeup. Love to see a GOAT like Tom Brady move on to another team. I think it would just create the most amazing storyline of the NFL offseason. Will allow us to talk about something crazy the whole time before the season starts. And also predict if he can actually win outside. Does he need Belichick? Does Belichick need Brady? Is it the end for New England? Let's all hope so. We all know we just want to see Boston and their teams burn. So why not see New England fall down? The other thing we want to talk about in the big things in sports, we've done draft, we've done Tom Brady. Next one, oh yeah, we're going to go a little political and I guess health conscious. Coronavirus, COVID-19 or COVID-19, the big disease. Why are we talking about it? Because the Olympics might not happen. Guys, we're supposed to have Tokyo 2020, the Olympics this summer, in an area that is now getting ravaged by COVID-19. While we have seen, obviously, the recoveries have increased and the speed at which people are, especially in Asia, are contracting the disease has finally slowed down. It's not exponentially increasing anymore. I think the recoveries was up somewhere in the 40s of thousands, and the percentage of it going, at least, continue at the rate it was, has slowed down. We've seen that is not, picking up any more speed. It is proven that obviously caught early and with a healthy, not a person at risk, which means no one that is obviously fighting any autoimmune deficiency disorders or anyone that is old or young, you have a good chance of survival. It's a good survival rate. But as we know, the Olympics is notorious, especially in the Olympic Village, for a lot of the athletes getting it on. Oh, that's right. Top athletes, also top performing sex acts at the Olympics. It is well known. We know they all kind of group together. That happens. Now imagine you put in there not an STD, but a highly transmittable disease like COVID-19. What happens there? What about all the fans and the millions of people that are going to be at the event? It's just a complete disaster of a situation if you were to have that happen with this disease going around with no real ability to control it. So many of the talks right now are that Tokyo will cancel it because on top of them dealing with their own issues right now trying to contain the virus, they also have been dealing with serious economic issues. And one of the big ones that's holding them back is trying to plan and execute this Olympic Games. If they are not going to be able to, one, fund an ability to fight the disease or fund the Olympics properly, then it's just not going to work. They're going to have to face too many problems at one time. So realistically, we could see Tokyo be shut down for the Olympics. Now, do I think that there's a high chance of happening? No. There's so much money lost in it. There's so much revenue for TV stations. There's too many interested parties in order to stop the Olympics. But it is still that if for whatever reason health officials were to come out in force and say that they can't be held because you just are putting too many people at risk, that's when there's a chance that it might actually get canceled. And it'd be amazing to see an Olympics game canceled that's not during wartime. Obviously, canceled in the past for serious situations such as the World Wars and so on. But now to have a disease take it down be incredible. And a shame. I mean, Tokyo obviously wanted to do this. They took it from Turkey, I think was when they were voting on who was going to have the next Olympics. They edged out Turkey just a bit. They wanted to host it there. They had everything in place to get it done. And we're so close to it. We're just months away from it kicking off. Athletes have been training, for the last 4 years to get ready for this. There are young kids trying to make their name, make their mark in their respective sports. And they might not get the opportunity to do it. Could there be a makeshift, Olympics the year after? Possibly. I'm curious, what are your alternatives when the option to cancel is on the line there? It really is going to be a wait and see kind of thing. I'd be sad to see it not happen. I love watching the Olympics. As a former track athlete, I think it's an exciting moment. I think there's so many cool events for everyone. Obviously, the unveiling of some new sports. I believe 3-on-3 basketball is going to be happening. Baseball is going to be back. There's a lot on the line for this, for the country of Japan, but we'll find out more. It's crazy. And with this COVID-19, it's not slowing down. Italy's getting absolutely demolished. The European countries, there's risk of people from European countries bringing it back into Asia who might at one point be able to somehow contain it. There's also possibility of them bringing it back to their own country. So a lot of issues. The World Health Organization, every different individual country's health organizations are all going to have an input in this, I think, at the end and the final say. But we'll see. Or they run it and you see the highest spike in COVID-19 there's been, and it's just a complete medical disaster. So that's the big question. Will the Olympics be canceled? We will find out. So now on our show, now that we've gone through the NFL draft, talk about the Eagles' position as well as the top players in the draft. We talked about Tom Brady and his possibility to not be back in New England and where he will end up. And finally on the Olympics and whether or not they will be canceled. The next thing I want to talk about before we finish off the show, something that's important because I have been ranting and raving for weeks about the freaking Philadelphia 76ers who last night lost again to the Clippers. They beat Clippers. They lost again in the last streak of games they've played to the Clippers, but at a very exciting player. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to attempt this while talking about 76ers. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to calm down, and we're going to talk a little namaste 76ers, okay? We're just going to do this easy now, okay? We're going to ease our way into it. I'm not going to get too excited. I'm not going to get mad. I've wasted enough energy there. Let's just rationally talk about this, okay? So the 76ers lost to Clippers. Yeah, they lost again. I'm just so happy about it. They lost to Clippers 136-130 without their stars, Ben Simmons and Embiid in the lineup. But a wonderful surprise happened, and that was in Shake Milton. Yes, Shake Milton came through in this game with 39 points, playing for 40 minutes, only topped by Tobias Harris with 41. 3 rebounds, 5 assists. It was an incredible night, incredible 3-point shooting performance by him. Also, I would like to note Tobias Harris with 25 coming through for the team. So while they lost to probably a better team on paper, the 76ers did have exciting stuff from Shake Milton. So as always, it's nice to see that the players are doing well. It was nice to see that Embiid had no structural damage to his shoulder, so we'll be back. Simmons will hopefully be back. And we're just going to, just keep enjoying it. and that's how we should embrace the 76ers. Maybe towards the end we'll talk about, he who must not be named, and that's the coach of the 76ers. I don't want to have my blood pressure spike, so I'm going to leave him out. But yeah, I think they're doing the best they can. They're really, putting their best foot forward. And, as a fan, I can't fault them for no, can't do it. Nah, I'm pissed. I thought about his name. I tried not to do it. I thought about Brett Brown. Hate the coaching. Hate the way they're lining up. This team just keeps dropping off. They're supposed to be pleased with like the Clippers. It's supposed to be our season. They're supposed to win. I can't take it anymore. This freaking team is just going to kill me. I'm going to run into a wall a million times, jump off a bridge. I don't know how much more I could take of the 76ers organization. They need to bring in players. They need to get health staff. They need to get Embiid to lose some weight. I need Simmons to actually be able to play some games as a star on the team. And when Harris finally plays well, it's when none of the other stars are there. Why can't they work together? What is wrong with Brett Brown? No. Okay. I said I'd be calm about this. We're going to take a deep breath. No more getting mad. Don't think about them. Happy thoughts. Oh, Eagles win the Super Bowl. Oh, gonna have a wide receiver with Carson Wentz. Anything but the 76ers. Oh, Ben Simmons had a recent article on his obsessions about video games. Okay. We're there. Okay, I'm back. We won't talk about the coach. We're not gonna do it. We're all good. Okay. So on that note, I think we can just wrap it up on them and look forward to their next few games. Let's see who they have on the docket. Okay. Well, they take on the Lakers tomorrow at 10, so that's a loss. They're going to take on the Kings on Thursday. That should be a win, but you know what? If they're playing them at Sacramento, they're going to lose. So they're going to lose that one. And then they play at Golden State. Great. Steph Curry's back, so going to lose that. Great. Oh, Pistons come to 76ers. That's a win. Look at that. In 4 games, we might have a win. Isn't that fun? It's only that. It's not like, we've been losing consistently and proving that we're no longer a top team in the East. No. I'm good. Forward. Yeah, here we go. Pacers probably win that. Then we might beat the Wizards. And then, oh, look at that stretch. Raptors, Hornets, Hawks, Timberwolves. That's at least maybe one win there. Oh, man. I'm really happy. I praise mediocrity, and I just love seeing a team that had all the potential to be great just really continue to just suck. Just, oof, yeah. In with the wins, out with Brett Brown. In with the wins, out with Brett Brown. There we go. Feeling better. And with that, folks, I'm going to move away from the troubling topics of the day. We obviously got to talk some great things with the draft, with Tom Brady, with the Olympics possibly being canceled, and finishing off with just a quick discussion on our 76ers with a controlled, I think, response from myself. No more yelling, no more calling them out. Just going to be level-headed throughout the rest of their season until something exciting happens. So with that, folks, we're going to wrap up the show. Thought we did a nice quick to the point one for our 25th episode. As always, we thank you so much for sticking with us and for listening in on the episodes, for giving us a chance when there's a lot of great sports content out there. I hope that we can make stuff that's entertaining for you, that we can make some great stuff for you throughout the season. Obviously, if you are a Philly sports fan, we are always going to be talking about them Sixers, about them Eagles. We'll throw in the Phillies as they get into the baseball season more past spring training. The Flyers, once playoff season comes, that's when I watch hockey. We'll talk about it then. As always, if you'd like to stay up to date with what we are doing with the content, with clips from our previous episodes, make sure to follow us on Instagram at ChadBurn Show. Again, Instagram at ChadBurn Show. You can always email me as well or DM me there, but email me at chadburn.show@gmail.com. Always happy to answer your questions, to try and incorporate stuff into the show. Stay tuned. We'll always post when, I'm on other shows, when we're doing, obviously, guest appearances for post-game shows or on other people's podcasts. When we have new guests on, we'll make sure you guys are aware of that beforehand. This episode will be going on Monday at 8 p.m. We recorded today on Monday, so it should be as up-to-date as possible when you listen in. As always, we love having you on. If you want to watch, obviously, our video content on YouTube, make sure to subscribe there as well. We'll be back next week in full force. creating some good stuff. Hopefully by then, we have some wins to talk about. And I think the draft coming up soon, so we'll probably talk a little bit more of that as, more of the mock drafts are prepared and see where everyone has, where the Eagles will be picking, who they'll be picking at 21. So thank you for listening in. As always, we love having you. And until next time, have a good evening and good night.